you have these characters like Dick Vitale. You wouldn't think that would be somebody who would be transcendent, that he would last for decades. Even Chris Berman, John Madden. It's how do you explain these certain characters where you wouldn't put them in and go, yeah, right out of central casting, they work. Why do they work?
They're genuine. They're different. They're loud. You cannot ignore them as they go forward. What was it? The fastest 3 minutes in the NFL the night I was listening, and I said, "There's my buddy Chris is still grinding it away." Howard Cosell, another one of those characters. But I think that the most important thing about all of them, they're genuine.
Did you know Cosell that well?
Oh, I knew him. Oh, yeah. I really knew Howard. He was a character. He became insufferable later. Okay, to tell you the truth, if you were on one side of the street of Manhattan and you saw you stay on the other side of the street. Okay, man. But at his peak, okay, people don't realize that he started in broadcasting. He was a Little League baseball coach, and they were just looking for somebody to do a radio show, and Howard did it. But I'll never forget Kurt Gowdy, the old cowboy. He and Howard were out drinking, and Gowdy was another good friend. He told me the story, and one thing led to another, and suddenly it was dawn in Manhattan, and Howard had to do his radio show. Come with me, cowboy. I'll show you how you do a radio show. Howard's condo complex, and up they go in the elevator. Kurt said, and there was a New York Times back in the day. They delivered newspapers. They put them right outside the door, and there was the New York Times. And Howard grabbed it, went into the condo, and there was a closet, as Kurt said, right there to the left. And he opened the door, and he rummaging through shoes and everything, and he pulled the microphone out. And there was a telephone there and a connection with the studio. This is Howard Cosell speaking of sport. He had the New York Times there. I think the NBA season was probably on, and he went through the New York Knicks and the game that night and everything. And this is Howard Cosell signing off until tomorrow. He slams it down, shows over, and he said, that cowboy, that is how you do radio. Gowdy said it broke him up forevermore. Cosell was an unbelievable talent, and he could do it right to the second, ad lib, and then end it. And he loved putting on a show. I had my wife Arlene. We were actually Roone was trying to hire me at ABC, so we went to a Monday night game down in Miami, an old Orange Bowl, and Howard came in, and he had not met Arlene, so he gets into a conversation, and he's putting me down, and he's talking to Arlene, and he's going, and the stage manager's yelling at Howard, we're on the air in 30 seconds, and so and he walks and opens up. He was a genius, and the first night, Pete Rozelle told me that at least a half dozen owners, after that opening Monday night game between the Jets and the Cleveland Browns on ABC, at least a half dozen, called the league office and demanded that Rozelle get rid of Cosell from the broadcast. Wow. And so Rozelle told me he called Roone Arledge to have a conversation with him. And he said it was Roone who convinced him under no circumstance would he change. Howard was there to stay. And Pete, your job is to tell the owners. And Pete sided with Roone in that and went back to the owners and said, we think he's going to be good for us. And the rest is history. I mean, Howard brought in record audiences. He was the first one. The halftime highlights were really relevant back in the day because you didn't see every game on a Sunday.
And you were thrilled if he did your team.
Oh, yeah. Well, you got upset if he didn't.
Yeah.
People were upset with Howard if he didn't.